Yes, Peony, but he spells it with an E.
What?
P-I-N-N Pinney.
I didn't know
Special.
that.
Me neither.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
You know me has to be.
Yep, just like all you. Okay. The what do you call it? Disclaimer. Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard for the second time. We're doing this since 2014. This class meets in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, really the center of the universe, like Miami Beach doesn't hold a candle to Longmeadow, and is held in memory of Malika Ruth Bas Moshe Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. And we are up to page 139. And we're up to number 31 on the notes. Let me just move this over. Okay. So, we're speaking here about the 13 attributes of mercy, Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun, and so on, that we say in Slichos and in Tachanun. The 13 attributes of mercy, as they're commonly called, are associated with the beard, or they are represented by the beard. The beard actually has 13 different sections. And if you didn't know that, you can look back on page 133 to see what those different sections are. And each section, which section of the beard is connected with which of the 13 attributes of mercy. In any case, when we recite the 13 attributes of mercy, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, we are not saying to Hashem, we have earned something, we deserve something, now please give it to us, but rather we're saying that we do not have merit for these things, so please, we don't have merit, so please just give us out of your great kindness and benevolence. And so we call these 13, we call them the 13 mazals. The Talmud says that there are 3 things that do not depend on a person's merit, but rather on mazel. And that is children, life, and food, or in other words, family, health, and livelihood. So it depends. It says it's really through mazel. It's not through a person's merit. What is mazel? Typically, we say mazel is luck, like mazel tov, good luck, congratulations. But it's not really just you get lucky. As we said at the beginning, the word mazel means to drip, and this is the word is also used when it says that there's no blade of grass on earth that doesn't grow without mazel that tells it to grow, or an angel that tells it to grow. So the idea of mazel indicates a blessing, not that comes as a strong flow, as a steady flow, but something that comes more as a drip. Just like if you compare we talked before that this is compared to the beard. So if you compare hair with, or contrast hair with blood flows throughout the body and circulates in the body in 30 seconds, 90 seconds, something in between. Where's our scientist?
Oh, that's biology. It doesn't count.
What? Okay. So the blood flows through in a limited amount of time, and it goes to the entire body. And it's actually it's blood that's going through, that's going around. The hair, it's not flowing through the whole body, but it kind of gets squeezed through the head, through the skin on the face, kind of like those Play-Doh things where you make pasta with Play-Doh. And the hair is very, very narrow, not like an artery that where the blood is flowing, but it's the hair is extremely narrow, and it comes out slowly and grows and grows. So this, well, hold on, just saying, and this is, I think, represented by the word nozel, by mazel, which is the word nozel. Nozel is more of a drip or a very narrow flow. Yeah, oh, I just thought of that. Nozel is like the English word nozzle.
Oh, you just got that?
What?
You just got that? I got
I
that a couple weeks ago.
I
Anyways,
just got that. I didn't screw my head in all the way today. Yes, Rudy, what's your question?
so my question is, it's you say in the last part of 31 that Yitzchak appealed to the 13th mazel, which is Vinake, he acquits. So how does one go about segmenting the 13 attributes of Hashem in your prayers and appeal to each one or a certain one individualistically? How do you do that?
That's a great question. I hadn't thought of that. I'll take a guess, because I certainly cannot give you a definitive answer. But my guess is that you think about the meaning and the meaning of that specific mazel and the ideas that are associated with it. So, for example, we said last week that the 13th mazel Vinake is a feminine component. It's a feminine mazel. And we compared it with the name of Hashem, Aleph Daled Nun Yud, which with the name of Hashem, Aleph Daled Nun Yud, which I think was 671. And we did say that the Vinake, he acquits, is like the verse about Atik Yomin, that the vision of Daniel, that the Ancient One of Days was sitting, and his hair was white as wool. And Amar is wool. Nikei means pure wool or white wool. And we compared the Aramaic Nikei with the 13th mazel Vinake. So I guess that you think of all these meanings and deep meanings and associations with that specific mazel.
Okay, and so what is it about Vinake he acquits that links it to being blessed with a son? Because when you think about he acquits, that means that, at least in my mind, that Yitzchak was appealing to Hashem to forgive him for something that he did wrong, right? Otherwise, why would he be appealing to Hashem to acquit him? So I'd like to hear what your thoughts are as to why he appealed to the 13th mazel as opposed to, let's say, chesed, kindness, appealing to Hashem to be kind to him so that he could have a child. Why is it that he appealed to Vinake? He acquits.
So that is discussed. That is what we're learning here. Exactly why I don't have a good handle on it, but it does say that it's the 8th mazel and the 13th mazel. The 28. 27. Wait, hold on. Sold, right? 26. Yitzchak directed his prayers to, he acquits number 13, appealing for his wife. Vinake is a feminine aspect that was needed by his wife. He davened on behalf of his wife. Rivka directed her prayers to number 8,
Right. So
storing
Rivka
chesed,
went exactly.
which
Rivka
was
went
needed by Yitzchak. Each one prayed for the other one's needs. And the pasuk says he prayed across from his wife.
okay. All right. Okay.
Across is 78. Same nochach across is 78. Same as mazel 77. And Yitzchak davened for the mazel that his wife needed to conceive.
And they got two babies.
Yeah, they did. Also, Rudy, we also said, and again, I don't have a good handle on it, but we said that number 8, storing kindness, is the upper layer of the beard, and number 13 acquits, or he acquits, is the lower layer of the beard.
Right. Okay.
And I guess those are the two things
Goes back to the white beard. Yeah.
over here that we said extends all the way to the navel,
Okay.
not muzzle, navel.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Naval Academy.
Hmm.
Or we said,
They're also praying for each other in this piece. They're praying for each other, and Isaac is praying for Rivka. He's praying for Malchus, which I think has a component of Gevura in it. I'm just throwing that out. And there has to be some sweetening of that for conception. That's all.
we are going to talk about this. That's an excellent point. We are going to talk about that in today's class.
Okay.
There's also, in my mind, there's also another significance as to why 8 and 13, right? Because if you look at the number 8 is the same as ches, and ches is very akin to a woman's uterus, right? It's
Mhm.
from which a child protrudes.
Mhm.
Yud Gimel is 13. Gimel becomes before Dalet because I somehow remember that Gimel represents a poor man, right? A poor man that is looking towards Yud, which is Hashem.
The Dalet represents the poor person. Gimel is one giving.
Giving, right. Right. So he's asking Hashem to give to him. And that's why it's the 8 and the 13. Another interesting thing is that if you add 8 and 13 together, you get 21. The difference between 8 and 13 is 5, the same as Hey. 5 and 21 is 26, was Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Where's the 5 from?
If the 8 and the 13, right? If you take the 8 and the 13, you add them together, you get 21, right?
Yeah.
The difference between 8 and 13 is 5. 5 is Hey. If you add the 5 to the 21, which is the difference, you get 26, which is Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Okay.
Which is another reason for the 8 and the 13, the Ches and the Yud Gimel.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you. Take a look back at number 12. These two mazalot interact and send divine energy to Ze'er Ampin and Nukva. The beard reaches to the navel, which is the level of Ze'er Ampin and Nukva. So, Notzer Chesed is a male mazel, and Vinake is a female mazel.
Mhm.
So they do interact. Okay. So now, welcome Abigail.
Hello.
Okay, so the word that and you asked me, and this is indicated by the word that the Torah uses to say that they prayed, that they davened. There is a well-known medrash that says that there are 10 words or terms that are used for praying. And we find that in different places, when one is used or another one is used, that there is a special reason why that specific word is used. Over here, the word, before we go on, the word is atar, ayin taf resh. Ayin taf resh, we said, is in Aramaic,
Okay.
is a pitchfork. And we showed from the Gemara in Sukkah that why are the prayers called ayin taf, called ayin taf resh, which means pitchfork in Aramaic, because the prayers of the righteous overturn the will of Hashem. Just like the pitchfork, you use it to overturn the straw. As we have just seen, 31, as we have just seen, the word ayin tafresh and treat is related to the word tar'a, gate in Aramaic. Tar'a, gate is 670. This is a little bit of a recap I did here. Tar'a, gate is 671. The same as the expanding spelling of Hashem's name Adni, Aleph Daled Nun Yud, which is associated with the 13th mazel Vinake he acquits. In other words, Yitzhak appealed to the 13th mazel in his prayers that they be blessed with a son. We're going to see that number 32, the name Adni, in expanded spelling, has 12 letters. The 8th mazel, Notzer Chesed, a storing, is associated with 3 names Havaya of the mind, which also have 12 letters. The name Havaya has 4 letters, and we said there are 3 names Havaya. We talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was 1 for Chachma, 1 for Bina, 1 for Das. And there are also 12 letters there, the same as Adni in expanded spelling. Then we said Adni is associated with Vinake, the 13th mazel. Okay, Alan, please begin page 139.
Where are we again? There, or are we therefore?
This is
the mystical meaning of the word "and he entreated," which refers to the mazel of "and he acquits," via which Yitzchak prayed, as I explained. There are 12 letters the spelling out of the name Adni, which is associated with the mazel of "and he acquits," as we have stated. These correlate to the 12 letters that the mazel of storing comprises, as we have seen. The 12 letters that the mazel of storing comprises are the 12 letters in the 3 names Havaya that indicate the divine consciousness of the 3 spheros of the mind, which manifest as the beard when the intellect descends into the emotions.
okay. Thank you. 33. Their prayers would have given, or would or should have resulted in Rivka's.
No, you're right. In Rivka giving birth, you don't need Rivkas
Why not?
because you don't
Same
have
thing either way.
the double. It's almost like a double
Yeah,
entendre.
you're double whamming it. It's Rivka giving birth is good.
Rivka giving birth to 12.
It's redundant to do the apostrophe.
You ever hear of modifying a what's it called with the possessive? It's with a G. I'll think of it during the class. You have to giving is I forgot what it's called. Just a second. And you modify them
Gerund.
with possessives. What?
Gerund.
A gerund. Thank you. Gerund. Okay. And then you guys can think it over and let me know if you think I'm wrong. Their prayers would have resulted in Rivka's giving birth to 12 tribes. But when she was pregnant, she asked, "Why is this to me?" I should put happening in there. Why is this to me? Lama ze anochi. I'm sorry. He actually said to I. Not me. This has a gematria of 12. So by saying that, she lost the 12 tribes for herself personally. In addition, Esav destroyed her womb, apparently to prevent the nation of Israel from taking root In any case, the 12 tribes were in the end were fathered by her son Yaakov, and not by her. Okay, Alan, go ahead. Therefore,
Therefore, Rivka was worthy of giving birth to 12 tribes. But because she said, "What is this, Zeh, for me?" because of the pain of her pregnancy, and also because Esav destroyed her womb, her son Yaakov was privileged to father the 12 tribes instead of her. The numerical value of the word for this, Zeh, is 12. So Rivka's statement can mean, what do I need the 12 for?
so apparently Esav was practicing a scorched earth policy. He destroyed her womb on his way out.
Or instead of saying, what are the 12 tribes to me, she could have been saying, what is Esav to me? Why am I being cursed with Esav?
Very good, very good. And any verse in Torah has multiple interpretations.
Yeah.
This one is very cryptic. It's probably impossible to get accurately. Lama is why. Why is Zeh, this, Anochi, I.
They translated as me, though.
Is what?
Rabbi Wisniewski translated in this as me.
That's correct in English, but in Hebrew, it's
Okay.
in the Torah. We're so used to reading things that we accept them, but
Okay.
many of them are very awkward sentences that don't really fit in what's spoken language or written language. Now, so
Doesn't it also mean I am?
Yeah, like Anochi Hashem Elohecha.
I am the Lord your God.
Yeah,
it is
Anochi
I
Hashem
am. It's I or I
Elohecha.
am. Keep going, guys. I'm coming back in a minute.
Why is this to I am?
I think
Why is it not I am?
it is. I mean, Anochi Hashem Elohecha. It's the same word.
To I am. That is the correct.
What is this to I am?
What is
It's
this?
even,
I am?
yeah, that what is this to Hashem? Is another
Okay.
way to say it.
I saw a few months ago a translation that I like. Where are we?
We're still
Why?
talking about
Why is it? Why is it that I am?
Why is it?
Why is it to Hashem goes along with what Rudy was talking about. Why is this to Hashem? Why Hashem, so to speak? And with Esau in there. I'm just throwing that piece, falls right in it.
You said why
is this?
Why is
this Hashem? Because I am. That's Hashem. Another way of saying Hashem. I say Anochi Hashem Elohecha. Yeah, so in the.
I'm trying to translate this for the simple meaning.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just throwing in another.
I think that she's making it an appeal to Hashem. She has Ruach HaKodesh. She knows that she has Esav inside of her.
Yeah.
She wanted to have the 12 tribes. And
why Hashem?
Why Hashem? Why are you cursing?
Why are you doing this to me?
Exactly.
Yes. That's what that's exactly the point. That's the Anochi. I mean, one way to look at it.
Right.
Well, most of us in this class have never experienced pregnancy or morning sickness or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's upset about the pregnancy.
She's upset about Esau, who's trying to destroy. She knows she's a matriarch. She knows what's in her womb.
She's worried about her kids.
Well,
she's worried about
one of them at least.
What's going to be born from her, the Edomite nations and everything. She knows.
She could be worn down by her physical condition to be less likely more likely to ask, why is this happening to me?
Yes,
it's so hard what's happening to her.
It's hard, but she also is wise. She knows her progeny.
This is great. These are all wonderful things. Rashi for the meaning, which is what do you call it? The simple meaning, Rashi says, is that
Yeah.
there were pains caused by Yaakov and Esav, who would get excited. Yaakov would get excited when she passed a house of Torah,
Yeah.
and Esav got excited when there was passed a building for idolatry, and it was painful. And she said, Hashem, if this is what it's like, why did I pray so hard to have kids?
Right,
That
but
is Rashi.
Rashi typically starts with a pshat, right?
These are Peshat.
This
And
shot.
then
This is the
they
simple
leave-
meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not to negate. These were all very nice ideas. So, did we? Yeah, we did. We did the next thing right there for Rebecca, right?
Yes.
We did that.
Okay, now,
Yes.
so let's go back. Let's go back to the original. I'm sorry, not the original. We're now going to bring in a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. The Mishnah, I did this by heart. I didn't look in, so I hope I'm right. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, Achi darka shel Torah. This is the way of Torah. Eat bread with salt. Drink wet water in measure. Sleep on the ground. The Hebrew word for measure is misurah. Sleep on the ground. Live a life of suffering or pain, but be involved in the Torah. Be engaged in the Torah. I like the word engaged better. Be engaged in the Torah. And if you do this, you'll be fortunate and good for you in this world and the next world. So what is our connection here? The connection is eating bread with salt. In this, we started by saying that the bread or food does not depend on merit, but on mazel. So we're going to connect it with this, that the bread with salt is not according to merit. The gematria for bread, lechem, is 78, which equals the three names Havaya of the Mazel Notzer storing. In Notzer storing, there are three names Havaya. I don't remember if it was this week, if we had it a few weeks ago. And Havaya is 26. Three names Havaya are 78, the same as Lechem, bread or food. The Aramaic word for Mazel is Mazla. And in the Gemara, the original quote is in Aramaic. So it says Mazla, Mem Zayin Lamed Aleph, whose gematria is also 78.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said, the eighth Mazel, Notzer, storing, is the masculine component. And we're going to put that on hold, and we'll see why that's important soon. Jim, do you want to continue bottom of 139?
Sure. With the above in mind, we can understand the sage's injunction, eat bread with salt. This statement alludes to these two mazalot. The usual word for bread is lechem, whose numerical value is the same as that of the three names Chavaya that comprise the masculine mazel storing, and whose numerical value is also that of the Aramaic word for mazel used in the sage's statement regarding mazel. Although the word for bread used in the sage's statement about eating bread with salt is pat, the most common word for bread is lechem. Lechem is lamed chet mem, 30 plus 8 plus 40, 78. The numerical value of chavaya is 26. 3 times 26, 78. Our Aramaic word for mazel, mazla, is spelled mem zayin lamed aleph, 40 plus 7 plus 30 plus 1 is 78. As we said previously, the divine energy in bread, in beard, strike that, beard hairs, derives from the intellect, which comprises 3 sephirot, whose divine energy is channeled via the 3 names Chavaya. Bread is the general metaphor for food. Right, okay, and material sustenance. The sages state there are three things in life that are dependent on mazel, which is children, health, longevity, and sustenance. So the statement, that's four, but whatever. The
No,
statement is
health and
health and longevity are one.
one.
Longevity is wasn't in there before, but whatever. The statement is in Aramaic, so the word used for mazel is its Aramaic equivalent mazla.
Okay.
Salt. Okay.
So hold on. So it says here in the Mishnah, and I did copy it accurately. Eat bread with salt. So lechem is bread, 78, and the same letters are salt, melach, which also 78. Salt melach is also 78. But this is for the three names Havaya with 12 letters that correspond to the 13th mazel, Benakeh, he acquits. One moment. So this means that bread is for the 8th mazel, and bread is for the 8th mazel, and salt is for the 13th mazel. The 8th mazel is for three names Havaya of the intellect. Okay, we said earlier that the 13th mazel corresponds to the feminine component. When you take bread and salt, bread stands for the male component and salt stands for the female component. It's like the interaction of male and female. The 8th and 13th mazels interact to produce offspring of sustenance. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
So may I interrupt for a moment?
Yes, please interrupt.
Are we taking the Pirkei Avos as shot, or are we going to dig a little deeper into that?
We are looking, well, right here, we are finding deeper significance.
Yeah, deeper.
In this teaching of Pirkei Avos.
Deeper.
There's a far deeper significance. If you could just scroll up for a moment. So when you look at eat bread with salt, right? Eating bread is also an analogy for life.
Yeah.
Salt is analogous to Hashem, right? So you live your life with Hashem. It also alludes to the challah, the two challahs that we have on Shabbos, to put salt on it so that we can ensure our livelihood. Drink water in measure. What does that mean? It means that drinking water is mayim chayim. Mayim chayim is Torah. Measure, you measure for measure is make sure that you allot yourself a certain period of time each day to learn Torah. It also alludes to the libations that were done in the Mishkan. Sleeping on the ground means you're here in this world. You're not living upstairs in Shemayim. Make sure that you do the things that we're supposed to do, which is turning the mundane into the spiritual. Living life of suffering is not per se the suffering, but one of humility. Not be arrogant. And by doing these things, you're not just engaged in the Torah, you're living in the Torah.
Yes, very good, Rudy. Thank you. So it says that this is the way to acquire Torah. If you think you're going to acquire Torah by sitting in a very comfortable office chair and sipping your tea and getting a full night's rest, you're not going to get very far. That's the point here. But very good, Rudy. Thank you. This is the way of Torah. It says in the English here, this is the way to acquire Torah. Okay, so now we're going to go on. The Mishnah continues. It says drink water in.
I mean, it's a minhag when somebody buys a new home, you give them bread and salt, right?
Yes, yes. This is it. Actually, the reason why salt is so prominent here is that in the olden days, the bread was, and the reason we dip the challah in salt on Shabbos, one reason, is that in the olden days, the bread was tasteless, eating it by itself, and had to be eaten with salt in order to have any
Right.
taste.
But salt was also a currency. It actually had value back then.
Salt gave flavor and also purification and longevity in the process because it preserved and it also cleansed.
Right, but it also had currency. People
Yeah, because of all these values,
salt.
all of these values.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, go ahead. The word for salt.
The word for salt, melach, alludes also to the three names Kavaya that comprise the 12 letters present in the feminine mazel of "and he acquits." Word for salt, melach, is a permutation of the word for bread, lechem. Its numerical value is therefore 78. The union of these two mazals draws down sustenance. Sustenance is the offspring of the union of the male and female mazals. So it'd be of 8 and the 13.
Yes, one moment, please. One moment. Okay. Next, the Mishnah says, drink water in measure.
Mm-hmm.
Usually water represents chesed because it flows downhill. It's necessary for plants to grow, etc., etc., etc. Dr. Gazarmo. However, water can also be gvura when it comes down strong or when it's limited. Like it says, drink water in measure. So the idea of drink water indicates chesed, measure indicates gvura because it's limiting. So just an idea in the Mishnah Tainus, which speaks about rain and the importance of rain, and in the second bracha of Shemona Esrei, we refer to water, to rain, as gvuros geshamim, mighty rains.
Isn't it my gevurot? Isn't that plural?
Yes, and we say geshamim in the plural also. Geshem is rain, geshamim are rains.
Right.
Multiple rains.
Strengths of rains.
Rains of power, rains of strength.
Right.
Think of Taurus. Think of the wind last night and this morning. So we do find in certain cases that water can also be in the form of gevura.
Or the limitation of the flow of water.
Exactly.
Can be in the nature of gevura.
Exactly.
So you're saying the water isn't actually feminine; it's just under the influence of gevura.
You can say that
feminine or not feminine.
You can say that the water, if you have overflowing chesed, which is like overflowing water, it takes the feminine gevura to limit it and properly put it into irrigation, into drinking, into something that doesn't overflow. It limits. By gevura can be a limitation of chesed. So that's the feminine aspect of gevura that's very positive on the chesed, the direction, the limitation, the concretization of that flow.
Abraham, right?
But it's the gevura of it. Abraham is the chesed, but it's the gevura of it. It's the Sarah of it that directs it, that concretizes it.
But the water itself is always,
That's masculine. The limitation is feminine. The restriction, the concretization, the limitation.
I learned vocab, concretization. It's a new word.
Concrete, like
Oh, like
concrete.
concrete.
Yeah, concrete. There you go.
Gevura
Putting
also-
it into the concrete. That's exactly right. Putting it into concrete.
Gevura also means a withholding.
Yeah, it's a withholding too. But if you have so much chesed flowing, what do you got?
So yeah, we're going to be speaking about this here. So there's an expression. Thank you, guys. There's an expression, butsina de cardanusa. If I've seen it before, didn't know what it was. Butsina is a candle or light. Butsina de cardanusa is a dark candle, a light that is
a Hebrew
dark.
word or a Greek derivation?
What?
The cardanusa, is that a Hebrew word or of Greek derivation?
I'm going to say Aramaic. What does it mean in Greek, Rudy?
I don't know. I was just curious.
You know? What's a
Decardanuta.
cardiologist?
Decardanuta.
What's cardiologist?
A heart doctor, yeah.
Heart.
Cardo in, I think it's
Heart.
Greek. Is it Latin?
Cardo,
Is it heart?
cardo is heart. Cardo is heart in,
Cardo is
Greek.
heart.
In Latin or in Greek?
In Latin.
Latin.
Really. Cardo is Latin for heart.
Right,
Yeah.
like the cardo in Jerusalem. Okay, so Butsina de Cardonisa is, hold on, let me make sure I got this right. Is a dark candle. It refers to the 5 states of Gvura,
Mhm,
Keser.
mhm.
We spoke a few weeks ago that there are 2 levels in Keser. Atik Yomin is the higher level, which is detached from the world. Arich Anpin is the lower level, which has some sort of relationship with the world. These 5 states of Gvura and Keser regulate and limit the amount of infinite light that descends from Keser.
Mhm.
Very, very important. Without
Yeah.
this regulation in Keser, called Butsina de Cardanusa, it would be the light would overwhelm anything that's created, and nothing would be able to survive. So this is essential to creating the world. We find the word Cardanuta used in the context, exactly what this word means. We find it in different contexts. It would be tough, as in tough kernels of wheat. Dark, as in the underside of pots on the fire. And that is, I found it often in Medrash to mean something that's blackened or darkened.
Mhm.
Could one think of it
Measurements.
as a filter? As more of a
What?
filter? Can one think of it as also a filter?
Butsina de Cardanusa, the dark candle, that is the filter.
Yeah, that's what
It's the light. Yes, it's the light that's being darkened
Yeah,
and not allowed to shine. And the third, we find it used in measurements, specifically the measurement of land.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen attachments that go on lenses that are very dark if you're shooting in the sun, right?
Hmm.
So those are
Yeah.
filters. Those are lens filters.
Excellent. Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So this idea of a dark candle, this word cardanusa, we have a few different contexts, so we could find help us understand what this term means. But I just explained to you based on what I found today. I looked up. You guys don't laugh. I found this on something called Chabadpedia.
Okay. That's good.
Examples that are given of this dark candle, or filtered light would be a contractor or foreman who instructs workers regarding the dimensions of a building that they'll build. So that is what we spoke about, gevura, regulating,
Mhm.
to ascribe properties and definitions
Mhm.
and measurements. Or another example would be a boss who promotes one employee and demotes another. He reassigns responsibilities. Reassigns responsibilities. Okay? So everything's got to do their job. Everyone's going to do their job.
Mhm.
This one has to do this type of job. That one has to do that type of job. Again, the idea of regulating.
Mhm.
And this is allows for there to be 10 spheros. Otherwise, there could never be 10 spheros.
Mhm.
The story is told the guy is hired to drive the streetcar. I don't remember the name of the street, but he's hired. He goes up and down. It's not a busy route. And he comes back with, at the end of the day, he brings in $50. They congratulate him. He did his job well. The second day, he goes up and down his street, his route. And again, he brings in, this time, $55. The third day, he comes back, he brings in $215. They tell him, that's amazing, incredible. You've run in so much money, they said. It's such a quiet route, they said. How did you manage to quadruple your take for the other days? He said, well, after a few days of going on the route that I was assigned, and it didn't bring him much money, so he said, I decided I'm going to go on a different street. I know that there's a different street that's much busier. So I took the other street, and look, I brought in all this money. So they said, you're fired. You're assigned this route. We know it's a quiet route. We need a streetcar on that route. You went on the other one, so you're fired. This is Bucina de Cardonisa. It gives the assignments and manages and regulates the light. So it takes what I saw. It takes great strength to limit the infinite light. Hence, this is the gevura of Atik Yomin. It says also it's both. It's an Atik Yomin. It says it's in Arachanpin. In
Yeah.
any case, it's in
That's it.
Kessler.
Yeah.
One moment. Okay, so Jim, read the next paragraph.
The sage's statement continues, and drink water with measure. Water refers to the states of chesed, which extend of themselves without limit. But the black candle, the 5 states of gevura, limits them. The black candle, Bitzina, the Cardanuta, is a Zoharic metaphor for the 5 states of gevura.
Okay, thank you. 38. Now the measure, it says, go back to our Mishnah here. Drink water in measure. I noticed that the word for measure in Hebrew is misurah. Misurah is like measure.
Mhm.
The measure of liquid is called misurah, as we find in the Pasuk in Torah, do not commit iniquity in judgment, in measurement, weights, or misurah, which is a liquid measure.
Mhm.
This is the meaning of the Mishnah, drink water in misurah, in measure, meaning, for our purpose, this means chesed, represented by free-flowing water, must be tempered with gevura,
Mhm.
measure, and something that limits the free flow. Garrison, please continue 140 at the bottom.
140, where? Thus, they thus
They
said,
thus.
they thus said, drink water with measure, as in the verse. Do not Do no injustice in judgment, neither with length, with weights, nor with liquid measure. The word for liquid measure, mesura, is the same as for the measure in the sage's statement about drinking water in measure. The meaning is that Hesed must be tempered with Gevura in order for its goodness to act effectively in the world.
Okay, so this is a theme that we're very familiar with.
Yep.
39. Measurement is a component of Gvura which limits and regulates free flow. Chesed means to give without regard to merit. Gevura means to limit the flow to only those who deserve. Water is drunk in measure, meaning it is given to those who deserve. Merit. But it didn't say to eat bread in measure, only water. This is because, as we said before, bread, food does not depend on gvura and merit. It is the livelihood that depends on mazel, not merit. We're translating these different ways. Mizoni is bread. It refers in general to livelihood. So the Hebrew word is mizona, which means food. So we're saying that bread is very different than water. Bread, it doesn't say to eat bread in measure. On the contrary, we just showed before that 39 here. We showed before that in 34 and 35 that the bread and salt are connected with the mazel, with the number 8, number 13. No
Right.
chesed, storing, and he acquits.
Right.
That's because it's bread. Bread depends on mazel, not on merit. Water depends on merit. And therefore there's gvura involved. Drink water in measure means that there's going to be, that the chesed is tempered by gvura, and gvura is already regulating and limiting the water and deciding who's going to get and who's not going to get. Okay, Gershon, please read on 141.
The meaning is that Hesed must be tempered with Gevura in order for its good. We said that. But bread, which is one of the three things depending upon mazel, children, health, and sustenance, is not dependent upon one's merit, which is an expression of the states of Gevura. Gevura is the principle of limitation. That means the evaluation of whether or not the recipient is worthy of receiving the beneficence of Hesed, and to what degree. Thus, the sage's statement can be seen as contrast between bread and water. Water is apportioned in measure, that means in accordance with the recipient's worth and merits. Bread, however, is not.
Okay. 40. The gematria of merit, zchus, 43, is twice the gematria of gvura, 216. This reflects the idea that gevura only allows blessings to those who have merit. Gevura only allows blessings to those. That's a function of the gevura. Continue, Gershon.
For the numerical value of the word for merit, sechus, is twice that of gevura, plus the kollel. Sechus, sign, kaf, bab, tab, 7 plus 20 plus 6 plus 400, 433. Gevura, gimel, beis, bab, reish, hey, 3 plus 2 plus 6 plus 200 plus 5, 216. 216 times 2, 432.
Okay, now, we asked some questions at the beginning. I think we asked, why are these three dependent on mazel and don't depend on merit? We also asked, why this order? So 41, we could have gone straight to the answer and gotten it. We didn't need all this to answer those questions. 41, children, family, life, health, and food livelihood are essential to the world. Therefore, they do not depend on merit, but on the two mazels we mentioned, the 8th, stirring kindness, and the 13th, he acquits. Okay, go ahead, Gershon.
These three things, children, health, and sustenance, are needed greatly by the world. They are therefore not dependent on the recipient's merits, but on their muscles. That means the two muscles we have mentioned.
Okay. 42, the order is family, health, food. And this is for the following reason, because it matches Chachma, Bina, and Das in us from the bottom up. First is family and children. Children are associated with Das knowledge, as it says. Adam had known his wife Chava intimately, and she gave birth to a son. So children are connected with Das. Vayeda Adam es ishto. Adam had Das with his wife. 2, life and health are associated with Bina, because they bring a very interesting point here. Through understanding, a person is invigorating. Bina brings passion to a person's life. Bina, understanding, analyzing. Just think about our class and what we learn here and what it does for our whole week. And the Torah we learn injects passion and life into our life, energy into our life. Number 3, the last one, is livelihood and food. These are associated with Chachma. Chachma is synonymous with bittul. The idea to put aside your sense of self, and a person needs bittul to be a container for Hashem's blessing of livelihood. You know, you spend months and months plowing the land, planting and nurturing until finally you're able to harvest. And even after your harvest, there's still work you have to do. You're relying on the rain. You're relying on Hashem's special the abilities that Hashem, the miracles that Hashem puts into the soil, that when you drop in some seeds, that plants are going to grow. Plants with food are going to grow when you drop seeds into soil. So this is the order of the 3 things: family, health, and food is Das, Bina, and Chachma, ascending from bottom up, ascending order of the intellect. Go ahead, Avigail, the sages.
The sages listed these 3 things in the order that they did: children, health, and sustenance, because children are associated with Das, which extends down through the spinal cord, while the health issues from Ima for life, i.e. intellect, issues from there, and sustenance issues from Abba. They thus listed them in ascending order. Marital relations are carnal knowledge, Das, as in the verse, and Adam knew his wife Eve. Intellect is the life force that enlivens reality. People act with enthusiasm and vitality when they understand the value and purpose of what they are doing, and the constant flow of new understanding keeps life from getting boring. Indeed, the zest for life that accompanies intellect is probably a major factor in health and longevity. Sustenance issues from Abba for selflessness, bittul. The experience of Chachma is the prerequisite for success in worldly endeavors. In order to receive the divine blessing of success in pursuit of a livelihood, we must dedicate our efforts to God's purpose, making the world into his home by conducting our affairs in accordance with his will, i.e. following the Torah's laws and intentions.
Okay, thank you. 43. Thus, it is these 3 essential needs that are not dependent on merit. If they were, the world will not survive. Instead, we appeal to Hashem for these needs, regardless of merit. Go ahead, Abigail.
Thank God for that. These 3 are dependent upon the coupling of these 2 mazzles, for the world depends upon them. Were they to be dependent upon our merit as expressed in the state of Gevurah, the world would be lost. Other aspects of life, however, which are not so essential, are dependent upon our merit. Thus, even if our merit is insufficient, we can still pray to God for these 3 essentials, relying upon his mercy to override our lack of merits.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's like a trust fund.
Yeah. Hence their connection to the 13 attributes. Unbelievable.
I'm just glad we stayed out of the beard today. Got
Yeah,
a few birds living in there. Birds nest.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Wow.
No.
So we
Reflections.
did how many pages? 2.5, 3 pages. 2, 1, 2, 3.25. Beautiful.
What?
That's a good.
We
That's
did
that's a good pace.
we spent a couple of pages, a whole hour went by. That's what I'm saying.
That's a good pace because we're dissecting. I think
Yeah, that's I agree. I think. And we spent
I mean,
yeah.
we don't have to do the second go round in 6 years. It can take 10. It's all right. 8 years.
Yeah, yeah. 3 pages in an hour. That's how you learn. There you go.
I
That's
think
fine.
these were
Personally, go ahead, Abigail.
I was going to say these were possible to go fast like this because of how hard the last pages before them were. Because we learned the basics, we learned the foundation over there, right?
Yeah.
Well, personally, in order for me to get it, I need to. There has to be continuity.
Progression.
Continuity for me, so that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard if we do like 1 or 2 pages one week, 1 or 2 pages next week, because we're getting into discussions and stuff. I lose the focus and what we were talking about. So again, it doesn't mean we have to go fast, but to keep moving and to keep focused. That's for me personally. On the other hand, I very much want people to have input and feel free to reflect on what we're learning. As I've mentioned to you guys before and mentioned to you privately.
That's not practical, but it feels like a 4-hour class would be better.
I don't have time to prepare for
Yeah,
4-hour
I know.
class.
I don't either. I don't have, and I apologize for being late. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the class. They kind of fell apart tonight.
No, don't worry.
You think you're the only one who is ever late?
There we go.
Actually, we've done pretty good with attendance.
Yes.
So my reflection is that there's so much here, and to be able to connect the prayers for children, for family health and livelihood, to connect it with the 13 attributes of mercy, and to understand what it means that it doesn't depend on merit. I don't know, it's just there's so much there that I never would have thought of how deep it goes.
Yeah.
And that we know all that because it flows from the chariot, right? We all started there. Or am I messed up?
I don't think so. If you can find it, tell me where.
The map. We started with I thought it was some image. Maybe I'm mixing it up with before what we learned.
There was an
before.
image, but it was something a little different. 134.
Okay. Because I know there's the drops from the beard.
Yeah. It's the flow. The flow. The flow from Arahamdin, of the ancient one, flow of the ancient one from Arachanpin, or Atik Yomen, however you want to call it, and so it comes from the deep essence of Keser. In a way, you can look at that as chariot, but there's the deep essence of Keser that flows, and it's beyond our merits. It's beyond what's good and bad, I guess, and depends on something way beyond, and God's mercy. Of course, we do have to be good, which is why Parnasa is a dedication. I love this livelihood. In order to sustenance issues from Abba, from selflessness, Biddle, the prerequisite for success in their earthly endeavors. In order to receive divine blessing of success in pursuit of livelihood, we must dedicate our offer to Hashem's purpose, making the world into his home by conducting our affairs in accordance with his will, by following Torah's laws and intentions. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't, you do act incredibly in terms of what Hashem's will is, but to just think of it in terms of I do this, I get that, it doesn't work. You have to do this for his sake, but then if we can become vessels for his flow, my goodness, it's beyond a punishment and reward paradigm. That's all.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the sustenance, you don't have to take it personally. It's not your merit.
It's not your merit. No, and it's maybe you're not your mazel either, but you may have the other. You may have one of the other two.
Sorry.
Those three are the special ones. You may have the children and the health. I related to the last one because personally, that's how I relate in the world.
I think
myself.
So you righties are all taking out all responsibility for sustenance, huh?
No, that's exactly the point. We have to be dedicated to God's purpose. Yes, righties, making the world into his home. That's exactly the point. Absolutely.
It comes through mazel.
Yeah, but that's the point.
But
Rudy, you got that? You got that.
Of course, it all depends on what God's plan is for you, right? Because nobody can have all three.
Right.
And
Is that true? I've heard it, but is that true? You can't have all three? I've heard that, but I've never read it.
No, and it comes in different measures. There's no such thing as perfection in this world.
Right.
You're not going to have unlimited livelihood and unlimited health and unlimited happiness through family. It's just
right.
Not to be. You might have
Well,
two.
unlimited.
Some people have three, but there's a degradation in one. You're not going to get the full extent in all three. It just doesn't work that way, because if it did, you would not be suffering. But in from the standpoint of being humble and working on cultivating the mundane into the spiritual. Otherwise, we'd all be in Shemayim. That's the whole point.
Yep.
You know, people, it's funny, just to pull in a little bit, I remark on this sometimes in business where, people are chasing the dollar as if they're never going to die and they're all going to bring it with them. And it just boggles my mind. And the way that I see people waste time, they think they're going to live forever. And it just, I don't know. We lose sight of that which is valuable. and we don't cherish. We have a tendency as human beings as cherishing the tactile, that which we can touch, that which we can chase, but the qualitative aspects of life, we have a tendency of forgetting about.
If you take just sustenance, there's a great learning that I've experienced in my latter part of my life, that sustenance is for giving. It's for charity. It's the blessing of being able to give. It's an incredible joy that I can give something every day.
Well,
I'm blessed with that.
Remember, Mefarshim say that what is it of your possessions that you truly own, right?
Right.
Everything that you have, Hashem gives you. So
Everything he gives us.
the only thing that you own is that which you give away.
Right.
Because that's what you have the decision and the power to control. You can't control how much you're going to make. Whatever you get is coming to you, not a penny more, not a penny less. That's coming
Right.
to you.
And if we can give to others in this way too, and constantly. And it's incredible, these moments. So Gershom, with all the time you want to sit around and be tired, what you can do with this time, huh? Don't be tired. Give a little.
Transitioning. It's. I was thinking about that today.
Give a little. You got so much to give.
There are so many shuls around here that I could learn one a
Well,
week.
you got so much to give there. Give a little. You won't be tired.
Have a Monday shul, a Tuesday shul, a Wednesday shul.
Yeah, why not?
Probably.
Why not?
There are people that have that. There are
Yeah.
people that go to a certain shul on one day.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, get around. Go hit your neighborhood.
It's only 3 blocks away.
Yeah,
2 blocks away. There's one next to it. So yeah.
You know, go out there. It's right there. Experience. What an opportunity.
I forget, what town are you in?
Miami Beach.
You're actually, oh, you are.
He's in Miami Beach, yeah.
How long are you in Miami Beach for?